Hello everyone. Today we're going to be looking at a few new features from our latest point release, Liberty version 5 build 8.28. This release is so full of features that we are actually doing two videos. This one will cover things in circulation, serials, and acquisitions, and the companion video will cover information in cataloging, OPAC, the borrower experience, and also general changes. So let's start out with circulation. For those of you who charge fines, we've added the ability to see what we're calling accrued fines, fines before the materials are returned, in three places: the circulation desk, the OPAC My Portal area on the Loans and Overdue Loans tab, and also if you use HTML email for your overdue notices. So let's start out with seeing how to change the circ desk. We'll go into the system area and into pages, because to add in the new tab you need pages. And some of you know that often you can go to a page once you turn this on and just ask for the relevant page, but Circ Desk is complex, so we'll need to search for the right page. Change this to be page type, and then just type in Circ Desk tab and search. What you'll see, and may have other use for you, is the definition of what fields in what order are on all the tabs of the Circ Desk. But we're here so that we can look at the Loan tab. And this is the new field. It's called Overdues Accrued. So we can just take it from the unused position to the used position and move it around wherever we'd like to see it. Save that up. And then you'll see as we open the circulation desk that there is a new column here called Overdues Accrued. So let's find a borrower and see what this looks like. And these are two books that are overdue and not returned, and you can see the fines accrued here. So that's in the one place. The second place, as I mentioned, would be here in OPAC. If you were looking under My Portal, you have Loans tabs. I'm not going to walk through this other than to show you where the pages are, because OPAC is another complex place and you need to search for the page. So that would affect the current loans and also the overdue loans. So once again, we'll search pages, and this time we will keep things in entity name, and we'll just search for loan, and you'll see several pages that match that. The two that affect the two tabs I've just highlighted are OPAC for the current loans and overdue for the overdue loans. And the last area that I talked about are the overdue notices. So if you're not using HTML, there's really no change. But if you are using HTML, then any notice you've defined that includes an overdue charge will automatically have the overdue accrued displayed. And a few of the notices in HTML have this option for totals. Let me show you that. And you can add a new field. So here in the reports area under system, the HTML reports are here under the email reports. And several of them have a section of that report that you can find for the total. And here we've added total overdue charges, and that will include the accrued. So our next topic is self-circulation. This is really covered in more detail in the user experience section of the companion video, but I'll give you a quick look. So if we go over to OPAC and I choose self-circulation, you may see something unusual, and that would be that I'm already logged in and ready to scan my items. A new optional feature managed by a privilege allows you to lock self-circ into the logged in borrower. A second option, this time controlled by a parameter, will also allow you to have your borrowers email their loan receipt about their current loans. And that is modeled after the same option that is available in Circulation Desk off the print feature. So have a look at the other video for a bit more detail. Now let's move on to reservations. If you are already using texting, SMS, to provide other circulation alerts, you can now do the same for the reservation notification. So if that is something that you would like to add, it will happen automatically. The only thing I'll just remind you of, let's go back to Angela's record. The only thing I'll remind you of is that there is a field where you need to state the preference, SMS, but for those of you who are not using this, the caveat is that you do have to have an SMS service, and it doesn't happen automatically. So if you've not used it, please do some reading and/or check in with support to see if you can. The second change in reservations is really fine-tuning on something we've always done. We have a parameter, 4413, that says will you or will you not allow reservations if copies are available, but we've had a request for that to be a bit more fine-tuned. So here in lending rules, we're going to go take a look at the research loan categories, and you'll see that there's a new field. So if this field to prevent reservations is set to ignore for this research loan category, it will use the parameter I've just mentioned, which is set yes or no to your preference. However, you can set the specific RLC explicitly to yes or no, no matter what the parameter is set to, as again, this ability to have even more fine-tuning on how reservations work. Now let's talk about a few things with borrower management. If you do self-registration, let's go back to borrowers. You know that when someone gives you their information from the OPAC, they will then be here in pending borrowers, and you'll give them an alias and approve their registration. What's new is that an email will go out to the borrower with that information. The next thing, also covered in a bit more detail in the companion video, is that the control for what kind of search a user does in OPAC, whether it's basic search or advanced search or federated search, is actually in the borrower record. And we've added a new parameter that lets you set a default so that when you register new borrowers, if, for example, everyone in your institution uses advanced search, you can set that automatically. And the last change to borrower management is right here, where I'll just mention that the contents of the mobile number field is now available for an AnyWord search. Related to borrower is the idea of privacy. Now, the borrower search history is displayed in a newer report we developed called Who Searched. But for some institutions and for some people, that's not acceptable. So what we've done is add a new field to the borrower record. Let's go and look at Angela's record again. And that field is wherever you would like to position it, but it's called Attribute Search History. It's set to yes, meaning that yes, if Angela searches, you can attribute her searches to her. But for any given user, you can set it to no. We've given you the ability to have a default for new users. That's parameter 3332. And the final thing is that it may be that you want to set all users to not have it personalized, in which case we've given you global change. All you need to know is the name of the field. The name of the field that controls this is under I. It's called Identify Searches. So if you want a group of your borrowers or all of your borrowers to not be identified, just globally change this field and that will be the case. One other comment on this feature is that when the cleansing of the search history actually happens, because they will all be changed to look as though they were searched by the OPAC user, which is anonymous searcher, happens in overnight housekeeping. So that means that if you are running reports, you probably want to run them early in the day rather than late in the day when you may have added some new users that that process and your current users had been searching, so that process hadn't yet been run to cleanse the data. And the last thing I'll talk about here is that if you are using bulk email, we have had the option to hide the addresses for some time. What we've done under our new privacy functionality is we've made this default to hide. If that doesn't fit your workflow, you can either uncheck it here or go back to the original parameter, which is 3319, and change what the default setting is. Something that we added in the last release, which some of you may have seen, is an automatic pop-up for those who self-register that has to do with your privacy policy. So that pop-up, happening or not, is controlled by parameter 3330, but we've had a lot of questions about how can we change the message. So that is a translation, so we'll just go down here and have a quick look. The only thing that you need to know to search and find it is the following phrase, which is OPAC client register. And you will see the message right here, so you can edit it and change it to match your institution's guidelines. Next circulation topic is for those who use SIP2 and a third-party circulation station. Just to let you know, we've added a checkout alert. These are controlled by fields that are as part of the GMD definition here. They are not normally on the screen, so if you're using SIP2, please pull over the new field via Pages. It's called SIP2 checkout alert, and the old field, which was just called SIP2 alert, has been renamed SIP2 check-in alert to reflect its usage. And the final area in circulation really is around the interest notifications. This was also covered in the cataloging section on the companion video, because we've given you a new field in bib types that allows you to say, for this bib type, please do not include an interest until it has a copy. It's just a field, very obvious, and you can change it if you would like. By default, the current functionality is that interests go out based on new materials regardless of copies. And finally, a new parameter, 3125, controls whether or not interest notification should be sent to borrowers whose circulation privileges have expired. It defaults to yes, which is current functionality, but you can change it to no. And now we're going to go and look at a few changes in serials. We'll actually start out with something that has not changed in functionality, but only in the way in which we manage it. So I'm going to go and look at this subscription, and I want to talk just a bit about claims. So as you know, if you work with serials, you can have your claims be taken directly from the supplier record, and everything I'm going to show you here can also be maintained there. Or you can have explicit claims. In the old interface, you put in numbers with correct punctuation. Like cataloging, if you got the syntax wrong, it didn't always work correctly. So all that we've done really is to change the interface so that you can manage your claim cycle. I'd like 10 days, then my first claim, 30 days, then another claim, and then every 10 days another claim. And also change this or delete it. In other words, we've just made it very clean to be able to enter your preferences so Liberty understands exactly what you want. And for those of you who have had, who use complex multiple components, under some circumstances, claims would sometimes get attached to the right title but the wrong component. And just to confirm, we have that all sorted out now. Another new option controlled here is based on the alert message that is in the subscription. How it has always worked, and it could continue to work, is that when you go into check-in here, you would wait to see what there was to check in, and then you would get the alert when you began the check-in. There is a new option, which is controlled by parameter 5117, which allows you to show the alert immediately before you do any check-in. Otherwise, if you leave that parameter in its default setting, it will function as it always has, which is that you'll see the alert as soon as you click receive on a specific issue. Let's go back to that subscription again. And just a release ago, we introduced the idea of rollover subscription. This is very useful if you actually use the end date and you want to do a new subscription every year. So this rollover subscription, which copies it all and resets the start date, is existing functionality. What we've added in this release is an option that you can tick, which will then expire or remove the current setting on the subscription that is being used as the source for the copy. So since many of you had to do that as a two-step process, we've now made it one. And now let's take a look at acquisitions. For those of you who use acquisitions, you'll recognize this screen. This is the help search, or the search help screen for orders. But when you searched order history, you used our older interface, which was to select a field and then to combine searches from that. So I'm happy to say that we have added the same sort of screen here now in order history. We have added a few additional boxes because once something's received, it has some additional information. So you'll see invoice and quote numbers, and you'll also see date received and date certified, which is often translated to be the paid date. Some other enhancements that we've done include in the custom field area. So if these reports do not suffice, you can always make a custom report. And what we've added are the custom fields. We've added the 10 user list fields, 10 user text, and also the 2 user nodes. In your interface, you will see these with the names that you preferred, which is why you use the custom fields within your order records. At this release, you'll need to know what that name is, and support can help if you don't have that information to produce your custom report. I have good news. We have a planned enhancement to display the translated names here instead of the original base Liberty names. So we hope that that will get you some additional functionality by allowing you to use your own custom fields in reports. And we hope that you and your borrowers will enjoy these new enhancements. Please don't forget to look in at the companion video for 828 on cataloging, OPAT, the user experience, and general changes.